COVID-19 has killed loved ones, destroyed businesses, and turned the world as we knew it upside down. Now, some are questioning if the one thing meant to save us is putting this nation in greater danger. I'm Gina Tomlinson, and right now, many of those refusing to get the vaccine are being discriminated against, marginalized, or even losing their livelihood. We began with a Naples doctor whose privileges were stripped by NCH despite his medical evidence for his opinion. Dr. Anthony D'Agostino's close with his patients. Many of them hang on the wall here inside his practice in Naples, where he's been a family physician for 25 years.
The best thing you could do for people is to sacrifice yourself to help them.
But Dr. D'Agostino's no longer able to see his beloved patients in the hospital. And now they won't let you anywhere near the hospital?
They won't let me near the campus.
All because he said no to the COVID vaccine. So you wrote your own medical exemption to NCH?
Yes, I did. They sent out forms. I filled it out, and I sent them copies of my blood work. Okay, and I could give you copies if you want to put it on the video. And I showed my antibodies. I retested my antibodies 8 months or 6 to 8 months after having COVID, and they were still strongly positive.
D'Agostino sides with this recent study and others alike, which findings prove natural immunity is better than the shot.
Because it would entail all the risk and no benefit. They only give you antibody spike of the alpha strain and the beta strain, but not to the delta strain. And that's why you're seeing all these breakthrough infections in Israel. That's 90% vaccinated. You're seeing all this breakthrough with the delta. Why? Because they don't have antibodies to the delta. Then they told me, we don't accept your exemption. You either get the shot or you're going to lose your privileges. Okay?
And what were those privileges?
Admitting privileges. So I could go see my patients at the hospital, supervise their care.
Dr. D'Agostino is not just fighting for himself, but he says also for the some 100 employees who were recently terminated by NCH for refusing to get vaccinated.
These are people that worked through COVID, and they called them the heroes, and now they're just fired.
In this article by Naples Daily News in June of 2020, the hospital's CEO, Paul Hiltz, told the paper they've had 0 patient-to-patient transmission of COVID-19 and only 1 patient-to-staff transmission.
And they were bragging about it, and they were proud. But now all of a sudden, they're totally vaccine or nothing.
People are losing jobs. People are losing careers over this decision.
A sad fate. Dr. Anthony Williamitis, another family physician over in Bonita Springs, is seeing firsthand.
I have had several women actually have had problems with their menstrual periods and increased clotting and increased bleeding from exposure to certain elements that are in this vaccine.
And was their medical exemption rejected?
Yes, it was.
Dr. Williamitis tells me that more than 70% of the medical exemptions he writes for his patients get denied, no matter how legitimate the reason.
I do have patients, thank you, that have had reactions in the past to all kinds of things, including vaccines, and they would not be a candidate, especially if they had a major allergic reaction, what we call an anaphylactic reaction or shock. And there are patients that have had that experience and have had complications from immunizations, and they do meet the criteria of being exempted. As a medical doctor, it's very concerning to me. If somebody comes to me, let's use a better example, and tells me they're allergic to penicillin, then my thinking is, well, I will never give this patient penicillin. My thinking is not, well, let's challenge them and see what happens.
You've mentioned that you don't believe that it's a one-size-fits-all approach.
No, it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. Maybe the elderly that are really at risk, you can give them the shots because the benefits outweigh the risk. That's how it is with any medication.
And you think money is the biggest factor?
Money is always, and it's horrible. It shouldn't have been a factor. Money that should not be involved in medical decision-making, and neither should politics.
People have a right to be informed and have a right to give or not give their consent.
And in Dr. D'Agostino's case, a right he'll continue to stand up for, even if the hospital system doesn't relent.
If you were to credit one thing to the reason that you feel strongly about this and want to speak out, what would you say that would be?
I'll say my faith in God.
God and his patients.
The doctor's primary purpose is the well-being of his patient, period.
Just this week, a major lawsuit was filed against a nationwide network of hospitals pushing the mandate in northern Florida, involving hundreds of healthcare workers, including doctors and nurses, who want to protect their privacy over what they put in their bodies.